if I am really present to the disruption, that presence to the disruption is going to ask me to do something about that if I'm actually present to it. Resistance might be, how can I ignore this? How can I, or what in my repertoire of reaction slash responses from my history can I pull out to fill in the blank,
Right.
which might be a menu of avoidance,
Mm.
uh, see if I can pass it on to someone else. Can I blame it on something and hand that off to someone else? Like, there might be all kinds of things that would be on the menu of reaction slash responses, the bulk of which is not actually being present to what is this calling for. So actually being present to the disruption by its own nature, can I honor the moment and honor the being present to this moment in a way that allows me to be present to what wants to happen in a way that really actually would require I show up as someone different, that I'm open to this disruption as a calling to possibility, which we could call a reframe. Like how you see it, the context in which you're present to this moment of disruption. If it's not resistance, it will be calling for you to reframe your context for seeing it and who you are in the manner of.
Yeah, there's a couple of levels of reframe when the disruption happens. One is yourself as the leader, and the other is your team who's going to go to work on whatever the plan or whatever the action is around the disruption. There's two major disruptions and then a third one we're in the middle of right now, but there was a major disruption at the subprime loan debacle, the recession that happened in 2008. And people, it was unprecedented, and people weren't expecting it and then had to back away and see what to do with it. Um, and then there's the pandemic, which was another unprecedented, what? Not prepared for it, don't know how to deal with it. And that's the level of disruption that we'll be encountering, I think, in the world at this point. And so our ability to be able to not resist the reframe that needs to happen and be able to have to pause like we have been talking and to come from a future that wants to happen, a place that you have shifted yourself to, and that you know how to do that in order to respond is important. We were working with a financial company just before the 2008 loan situation caused the recession. It was a financial services company. We were bringing a team together. And out of doing that work, the team came together. They had been picking each other because they weren't getting enough sales in the subprime market, and they were targeting one of their team members because he was the problem, because he was the guy who was preventing them from doing it. And in the work with the team, there was a reframe, not just about what they were up to, a reframe in who they were in their relationships together, and a reframe in terms of how they saw this man. And it turns out 6 months later, that pre-work prepared them for the disruption that happened. And many companies went out of business at that time. Sallie Mae, Fannie Mae, AIG, many of the mortgage insurance companies that were big in the market at that time went out of business. This company did not, because they had done a reframe prior to that unprecedented disruption occurred. And oftentimes it takes that so that when you pause, you actually see things differently. And you can do a pause 6 months before something happens, and they didn't know anything was going to happen. They just knew they needed to, because of the market, do something together that would have them come together in a different way. And it turns out that saved their business. For the pandemic, again, another disruption that if you try to go back to the old answers you have, because oftentimes the resistance has us go, well, we can do this and this and this, and this is what I know how to do. And each disruption is asking for something different. It's asking for a reset. It's asking to go to a new place. And if people don't recognize that and have prepared themselves, or just in the moment don't resist a reframe, because oftentimes it's that reframe that does the reset, that opens a new territory, a new space, a new direction for you to walk in. And that's what I hear you pointing to, Daniel, is you can resist it or you can respond. And then the question is, where do we respond from? Our past, our current emotional state, or something else? Anything to say about that?
The context from which you decide from, the core code of who you are and what your enterprise is about as the context for the reframe allows you to be present to, just as you're present to the larger context that your core codes have you being present to, from a who I am in the manner in which we address it, then allows you to be present to the larger field that's readying for the next evolution, if you might say. So that the thing about chaos, disruption and chaos from chaos theory is there's always order in the chaos. And when larger systems are moving towards the next level of evolution, quote unquote, hopefully, rather than a devolution, that then if it's going to be an evolution and you're reset, it's not just can you reset who you are in the matter of your domain of business? Can your reset be within a context of your core code of meaning in the way it's interacting with the meta system for the meta crisis? So that in the meta crisis, because the meta crisis is a cross-cultural, cross-functional, cross-system, blooming set of wicked problems. The readying for that next evolution, the thread in the chaos, that is the organizational ability, the organizing principle within the chaos, means that from your core code, if that's the thread for yourself and the why of your enterprise, then addressing the larger environmental, interdependent co-arising in the manner of a global culture now, then it allows you to be present to the reset for that cross-cultural, cross-functional, cross-system request for the manner in which you are going to reframe how you address it for the larger, let's call landscape environment of this global system that's rapidly accelerating its transformation. It's rapidly resetting and transforming. So what is that larger context and what's the organizing principle from which you will make those decisions of response?